So there were some people who were not very happy with Biden's State of the Union address. Now, again, 72% of the country said it was a good speech. About 70% of the country says they think Biden is trying to move us in the right direction after the speech. So we got a nice little bump in the polls after the speech, which is, it's customary. This happens usually whenever any president gives a State of the Union address. They go up a little bit in the polls because people like to see, hey, lay out for me exactly what you did and what we're going to do moving forward. But some Democrats are not happy with Biden's speech. Here we have a guy by the name of Harold Ford Jr. Now, this guy is like, imagine Obama, and we all know Obama's a corporatist, but imagine if you quadrupled Obama's corporatism. That's who this guy is, Harold Ford Jr. So here he is on Fox News. He's going to tell you what he thought of the speech, and he makes an amazing point.
Harold, we talked about polls right before the midterms, and they didn't turn out how Republicans thought they were going to, with Democrats outperforming where they were. And that has emboldened this president and this White House.
Look, we talk about his energy, and Larry touched on it. He's 80 years old. It took him 30 minutes to get out that chamber. I mean, he even stayed another 30 minutes had they not gaveled the thing down. Two, I agree with you, Larry. I don't like when American presidents pit U.S. companies against people. I know what the president's trying to get at, but we need a fair tax system. But Pharma was good to us during COVID. Big oil is important to us as we now find ourselves at a war a war in Ukraine. So I think that us versus them thing is not necessarily the thing to do, but we need a fair tax code. Even you and I start talking about how we could agree on the Medicaid expansion by making work requirements. Those are the things we need.
I agree with you.
He doesn't like it when the president pits the American people against companies. Companies started that war on the American people. Companies and billionaires have rigged the system in their favor and against regular Americans. He thinks Biden is being too mean to Big Pharma and too mean to Big Oil. The problem, if anything, is Biden's not mean enough to Pharma, mean enough to Big Oil. What are you talking about? Okay, this guy is like the definition of an anti-populist. He's like, bro, you're dividing us by accurately pointing out that companies are price gouging everybody, screwing regular Americans, bro. Okay, no, that's the kind of politics that works. That's the kind of politics that is accurate. So when it comes to Pharma, what did Biden do? Well, Biden reduced drug prices for seniors, but it's only certain drugs. The problem with that is it didn't go far enough. He wasn't mean enough to Pharma. By the way, he has the authority on his own to say, I'm just going to lower prescription drug prices across the board. He already has the authority, and he's not using it. He lowered some drug prices through the IRA, and it was Kyrsten Sinema who took a lot of money from Pharma at the last minute and said, instead of lowering all prescription drug prices, let's do only certain ones and only for seniors. So we would have had lower drug prices for everybody if it wasn't for Kyrsten Sinema. And this guy's out there like, problem is Biden's being too mean to Pharma and too mean to companies and too mean to Big Oil. That's the problem. No, that most certainly is not the problem. That most certainly is not the problem. The problem is he's not being mean enough to Pharma, not being mean enough to Big Oil. Like the IRA had some good provisions when it comes to green and renewable technology and creating the jobs in America, making the goods in America, but like the idea, as Trump says, like this is the Green New Deal. It's nowhere near the Green New Deal. We're nowhere remotely in the ballpark of the Green New Deal. It's amazing to me that this guy exists. He's like an hyper ultra mega corporatist on steroids. This guy is. By the way, I'm sure if you go to Open Secrets, you check out Harold Ford, it'll say like, he's taken colossal sums of money from these exact companies that he's defending. I mean, come on, take it to its logical conclusion, right? Like, bro, these companies are totally fine. I mean, the military-industrial complex. Raytheon has done a lot for us. Goldman Sachs has done so much for us. Why are you being mean to them? Why are you being divisive by talking out against them? It's so divisive to try to raise taxes on corporations. By the way, that's one of the good things he did do. 15% corporate minimum tax rate for billion-dollar companies or more. This guy would go, bro, that's divisive. You have to bring people together with companies by doing every single thing companies want in every single instance. That's like saying they have their boot on your neck and you're standing there going, please, sir, press harder. Destroy my larynx. Like, okay, that sounded dirty. It sounded kind of gross. Sounded kind of weird. Anyway, I can't believe this guy's real. I can't believe he exists. But he is real. He does exist. Here he is. So, look, I have many problems with Joe Biden, as you guys all know. I call him a status quo manager. He does tweaks around the edges, little bits here and there that make things a little bit better, largely maintains the status quo. But then when you look at guys like this, Democrats like this who exist, they're a caricature, right? He's way worse than a guy like Biden. He wouldn't have done the IRA. He wouldn't have cut the $1,400 checks. He wouldn't have tried the student loan debt reduction. Now, the courts blocked that, but he wouldn't have even tried it, this guy, right? He would do none of that stuff. He would represent the companies and act like, this is America coming together. Regular people and companies, we're coming together to continue to serve the companies and screw the people. Big Pharma was really good to us. They're so good to us. Are they so good to us when, remember that article that I can't get out of my mind that I've talked about a million times that I hope all you guys remember? There's a prostate cancer drug that was created in the 1970s, I believe. It sells for $200 a pop in the UK. You know what it sells for here? $38,000. They're being so nice to us. They're so nice to us. By the way, another thing, they've announced now that they're going to start charging for the COVID vaccine, and it's going to be pretty expensive. So remember how it works, man. The taxpayers fund the research and development that gives us every new medicine. For the past 2 decades, that's been the case. Then Big Pharma swoops in, buys up the patent rights on it, and sells it back to you and price gouges you. So you pay on the front end, and you pay on the back end. And they pretend like, bro, we're so important, we're so vital. No, you're not. You're a mafia. You're a gang. You're a bunch of criminals, a bunch of con artists in the middle taking your cut when you provide no value whatsoever. Nationalize Big Pharma. Nationalize it. Big Pharma's been so good to us by price gouging us all the time. Remember that story we just covered about Humira, the drug Humira? And how they've, it was like a $114 billion scam or something like that. How they rigged the patent laws in their favor and just price gouged everybody left and right. Big Pharma is so nice to us. They're so nice to us when they buy every politician in the country and rig the rules in their favor and jack up the prices and screw over Americans who pay way more for their medications than any other country on earth. Oh, this guy needs to go away. When you have Larry Kudlow next to you, Larry Kudlow, who's been wrong about everything. This is the guy who was like, there's no recession coming. He said that right before the Great Recession. You have this guy sitting next to you going, that's right, that's right, that's right. You know you're wrong. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.